welcome.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Parenting the Clay Way. I'm John Clay with my son Jack, who is 9 years old, and our good friend Travis McCabe from Green Bean Coffee. Thanks for joining us, Jack. So we don't get kids in very often, and we'll try to do more often. I think it's a really cool idea. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of changing it up and getting your perspective. So let's get right into a topic that you love, which is video games. I think most kids love video games for the most part. I did when I was growing up. I loved them.
I love my Atari.
And, I had some of the first video games on the Apple. Pong, of course, was really the first one. I had that and a whole variety of things. But I thought it was interesting. I asked you, Jack, so he's in 4th grade. I asked you about what do kids at school think about video games? And you said there was a difference. Which ones like it and which ones don't seem to care? Like there was a two different groups than I could guess. But what do kids feel like about homework? I mean, video games at your school?
Well, it depends, what they act like. If it's acting bad, usually Roblox and Fortnite. And if they're acting good, but they still do play video games, it's sometimes like Minecraft and Roblox.
Okay, so you're talking about there's definitely a difference of kids like certain video games, and some are a little more tame and non-violent, for example, and then others are, a little crazy or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you said the girls don't tend to talk about video games at all. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I really don't know. All my teachers have told me was just girls don't like violence.
Well, there's a difference of the way the culture is about it. Not to say obviously there's tons of girls that like violent movies and video games,
right.
And they participate. What have you found, Travis, about the difference between men and women? Because you interact with people into some of these groups of people. There's definitely a difference of men and women, boys, girls on this topic. But
yeah, I agree. I think video games have changed so much from the time, like we were saying, we've grown up. But it also grows. I think there's a video game really out there for everyone and their interests. When we had a Wii tournament, this year at the coffee house, it was across the board. A lot of girls accelerated on like Mario Kart. A lot of competitive aspects.
Mm-hmm.
The guys were more into the fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was definitely, a line that was drawn in the sand somewhat of where they kind of went, on their own interests. But you know what? You can't say that across the board because, my wife, God love Katie, she'll play Mortal Kombat, and stuff like that, and she'll get into it and this and that, and we all know MK is one of the most violent video games that are out there for fighting, so you can't sit there and say, well, this particular sex prefers this one likes that one. I just think it's really based on interest, and honestly, at Jack's age, you're getting into, like you said, Fortnite, which is a shooting game, but it's more cartoony shooting.
Yeah, it's not really gruesome.
No, it's not like Call of Duty or anything like that. But it's still the aspect of,
shooting,
and,
killing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then you're getting into also, Minecraft, which we just talked about. Minecraft. I like Minecraft. I like the options to explore, and build and, start developing your characters and stuff like that. You can do that for hours,
Well, certainly Jack likes to do it for as long as possible. And I chose to let you do Minecraft because I thought that it was a pretty constructive building thing that just felt positive to me. So first question is, what is it you like about Minecraft? What is it that compels you to want to keep playing it?
Well, it's fun, so for some reason fun goes faster than boring.
Yeah, I imagine that. But I think that
because one day is 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
of playing.
So, well, what Travis was hitting on, and as you may have mentioned too, is this whole idea of how big the world is. You can explore and explore and explore, and it doesn't really end. There's
Right.
so much to do in Minecraft, and there's so many possibilities. I think that's one of the key reasons why it's so effective, and the fact that it's just a very simple looking. It's not like it has to be all graphic and
and-
everything. It's more in your mind. I mean, it's almost like you're kind of constructing in your mind just as much as you're seeing it on the screen. You don't, you know, the similar story is about how the Simpsons were so simplistic,
Right.
and they could have made it much more, interesting looking, but they found that simple worked in a certain way in some of these shows.
Sure.
So you like Minecraft, and that's something that you like about it. Here's a problem: I can't tend to get you off of it. I can't get you to stop. Right? You tend to want to go, and keep going, and then when we say, okay, look, it's time, then what do we hear? Right? A lot of complaints, protests, right? So, what are your thoughts about having a timer? Why is it that you can't be okay with, like, this is when I have to stop?
Right.
Any thoughts on that? Like, what do we
Well, I
have to do to improve that whole thing? That's what I'd like to know. Huh?
Well, I mean, really, it's just a fun thing to do, and
But it's bedtime at, we know it's time to brush your teeth at 8:15.
Yeah.
So, like, if you happen to be allowed to play at around that time, I'm going to tell you got to stop at a certain time. You know it. We all know it. It's just not like I'm making up the rule here. The rule is an established rule of when we need to do these things. What is it, do you think, what do we need to do to get you to say, hey, okay, I understand. It's time. It's time to end.
right. Well, I mean, I don't really know how you would
I was
get
afraid
me
of
to-
that. I was so afraid of that. I know, it's a tough question. It's not really fair. But I was hoping maybe we could get some insight from you, because that is a toughie. And it's something that stops me from allowing my kids to play video games, is because their attitude turns poor.
Right.
They fight over the controllers. They fight over who can do it for how long and what they're going to play and whatever it might be. You find that as well?
Yeah. I think it's just when they're playing together, obviously your competitive nature kicks in. But when you're trying to decide what game, everybody has their own wants and this and that. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I even remember whenever I was growing up, and I'm going to wrap myself out here, but I feel I can now, being 45. Whenever I was younger, I knew for a fact, different Christmas gifts my mom and stuff would get me, and during Christmas break, she'd go off to work, I'd unwrap gifts, and I'd throw the game in time Christmas came, I was halfway through the game by
You're
the time.
kidding.
Nope. But I knew my time was like, watching the clock when mom's coming home, so that's when I knew to get off.
Wow. Okay, well, we know how to avoid that, right? I'm gonna have to wait till the last minute to get you any kind of gifts like that. Well, great. Well, I sense that we have plenty more to talk about with Jack of video games and many other things too. So we appreciate you coming in and sharing some conversation, Jack. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to say thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your any of your messages that you leave at the bottom of the screen. We'll continue to do some shows and some live shows too that we can answer those questions. But for now, I'm John Clay.
I'm Travis McCabe.
Yeah, thanks for
I'm
watching.
John Clay.
You're John/Jack Clay. Thanks for watching Parenting the Clay Way. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.